Welcome to this intermediate Yin Yoga class. My name is Jade, and today we're going to be working on a sequence for balancing the two sides, the energies of masculine and feminine. Today I have Jorge with me and Penny, who are going to be showing you different variations of the postures that we're going to be going through together. Let's just begin with our eyes closed. Allow your hands to drop to your knees and rest comfortably, either palm up or palm down. Closing your eyes, bringing your awareness in to your midline, the center of your body. Feeling your seat bones settled onto the ground and your spine rising up as an axis that holds and supports you. Bring an awareness to the top of your head also, and feel how the crown of your head could effortlessly rise towards the ceiling. From this midline point where you can sit effortlessly, turn your attention first to your right side. Feel all the way down the length of your right arm, your right shoulder, elbow, wrist, palm of the hand, back of the hand, and all 5 fingers, thumb. Feel into the right side of your chest, the right side of your waist, your right hip and seat bone. Feel the length of your right leg, upper part of your hip, thigh, knee, shin and calf muscle, ankle, heel, sole of the foot and top of the foot, and all 5 toes. Making a connection now all the way up your leg, through your torso, into your shoulder and your arm, and including the side of your neck and the right side of your face. Feeling your ear, your cheek, the right side of your mouth, your nostril, and even into the right side of your forehead. Check in with how the whole of your right side feels. Coming back to your midline, how does it feel in your midline now that you have welcomed, seen and felt the whole of your right side? And then we welcome the left side, beginning with your arm. Left shoulder, upper arm, elbow, wrist, palm of the hand, back of the hand, and all fingers and thumb. The left side. Linking your left arm into the left side of your chest, to the left side of your waist, left hip, feeling in to the top of the left leg, thigh, left knee, shin and calf muscle, heel, top of the foot and sole of the foot, and all of the toes of the left side. Feel the texture of your left side as you bring in awareness of your entire left foot, leg, left side of your torso, left arm, and then bringing it up through the side of your neck into the left side of your face, including your jaw, cheekbone, ears, eyes, and forehead. Feel the whole of your left side together. Then drawing your awareness back to the center line and noticing how you reorientate your awareness in the center now that you have welcomed your left side. Finally, bringing in awareness of both sides coming together. The whole of your body collecting and preparing for your practice with awareness and the intention of balancing the energies of masculine and feminine, of right and left, meeting in the center line. Feeling that effortless lift of your spine once again. Take a deep breath that fills your entire body. Exhaling and releasing it. And then opening your eyes. Bringing your knees in and then extending your right leg first. Hugging your left knee in towards your chest, what you're going to do is hold on to your knee and your ankle and just take a few rocks to open up the hip space, ready to cross the leg over the midline. It's useful to sit towards the center of your mat for this one. Then when you're ready and you feel warmer in the hip space, then pick your foot up and cross it over the midline space. Your knees will be roughly stacked on top of each other. Make sure that there's an even weighting in your seat bones. Perhaps gently flex or draw the toes of your right foot towards you and then relax them. And then we're going to take a forward fold, which means a strong stretch through the back of the right leg. So slowly, slowly folding over your bent knees. Allow the entire length of your arms to relax. So there's no need to reach for the foot. In Yin Yoga, we're as passive as possible, allowing time and gravity to do the work for us in the pose. Some people may be able to rest their head upon their knee, but if you find that you're a little bit further out of the pose, then that's absolutely fine as well. So just to demonstrate, Jorge, if you were, for example, somewhere like this, absolutely fine for your head to be resting into space rather than onto something. However, if you do find that you get strong sensations of pulling through your neck, you can place your hands one on top of the other on your knee, maybe making a fist and then resting your forehead upon that. That can be a really nice way to support your head or even bring a small cushion to your knees. Strong sensations through the back of the right leg. So feel into how your right leg is responding to the pose. How the whole of your right side could come to your aid. And just as in the meditation, you could link up all the parts of yourself. Also worth mentioning that in this pose, if you find that there's any discomfort coming through the back of your right leg, the back of your extended leg, tingling, or if you've ever had examples of sciatica, then do back out a little, or you can even take a variation with the pose of bringing your foot out to the side like this. That often makes it a little less intense. Work with what feels good for your body. When we work with the back of the leg, we're working with water energy. So if it helps you, Use the image of water, perhaps a stream flowing gently down your back and down your leg, melting away any tension, allowing your breath to fill this water with life force, with chi, prana. Check in with your shoulders, with your jaw, with your eyes, and see if any tension is being held here. And perhaps there's a little room to let go. Just 3 more breaths here. Being fully passive, receiving the sensations and the messages from your body. Enjoy that last exhale here. And then slowly release your hands and start walking them in towards you, curling up, rolling through your spine. Very nice. I often get a flood of sensation that runs through the back of the legs, so take time to enjoy that. And then when you're ready, picking your leg up with your hands, and we're just going to uncross to open our hips out to the side and take a twist, reaching your right hand to your left knee, turning, and enjoying a twist that spirals right through our hip into our spine, maybe even through the neck slightly as well. Take 3 deep breaths here and allow your breaths to slowly release the twist and maybe deepen it a little further if that feels good for you. When you're ready, unspiraling, coming back to the center, picking the left knee up and straightening it out, maybe giving your ankles a little bit of a turn. I like to give my legs a bit of a shake. And then we're going to do the other side. So hugging the right knee in towards your chest, feel your seat bones evenly placed on the mat, and then holding the right ankle and knee, circling into the joint capsule. This idea that we're going to get the acetabulum, your hip joint, nice and juicy, moving synovial fluid around. And then when you're ready, crossing that knee over the midline, making sure there's even weight in your hips. Again, remembering it's not about how far forwards you come. So maybe just sitting here and bowing your head is enough to feel sensation running through the back of your leg and through your spine. But if you would like to, you can walk your hands forwards. Noticing that when we arrive in the pose, we try and let our shoulders really relax. Sometimes that means using props underneath your arms or propping your head with your hands. Do what feels good for you. And now's an opportunity to notice how you've met this left side. How does it differ in sensation and texture to the right? All of us have stories, all of us have histories with our body. Perhaps some of us get attached to our stories. Maybe there's an injury you've had on one side or an experience that you've had. And it's really good to re-look at how we are attached and how we allow these stories to influence our lives. Let the sensation of this moment be the defining factor in your practice. And one of the best ways I find to get into a new relationship with sensation, especially if there are layers of history, is to breathe into it. So fill that left side with breath. Feel the awareness that is stored in your body coming to your aid. Quite naturally over time, some poses will invite us deeper, and others will offer us very strong sensations that might mean we want to back out a little. This is absolutely fine. In fact, I encourage it. So it's not about getting into the deepest form of the pose as possible. It's how much we can communicate with ourselves in a compassionate and conscious manner. I love the saying of where attention goes, energy flows. And when we're aiming to balance the energies of right and left, of masculine and feminine, of seen and unseen, what we need most is our attention, our awareness to guide the way like a candle in the darkness. Coming to the last few moments of the pose. So allow yourself to arrive and take 3 more breaths. Good. Slowly, slowly making your way out. Lifting your head, arriving for a moment before you move, and then picking up your right leg, turning the sole of the foot to the inside of your thigh. You might even want to use your hands to help rise your rib cage up and help you to twist, bringing your left hand to your right knee, your right hand comfortably behind you. You can always ease the twist as you inhale and deepen as you exhale. Inhaling to release a little, exhaling to deepen, keeping both seat bones on the floor. Last breath here. Fantastic. Walking around, bringing the knee up. Extending your legs. Again, an opportunity to circle your ankles. And when I circle my ankles, it's nice to sit back on your hands to do this actually. Feel like you're circling not just your ankles in isolation, but all the way up your legs so you can feel your femur bones rotating in their sockets. This feels really nice. Good. Sweep your feet to one side and come to hands and knees. We're going to prepare for swan pose. I like to walk my knees a little bit further back than I would for my normal hands and knee pose. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to draw our right knee in between our hands as we turn the right foot out to the side. So bringing that right knee forwards, turn the foot out to the side so it's just behind your left wrist. Then use your toes to help pick your knee up behind you and then untuck. Take time to settle into the swan pose. So notice if you tend to move to one side or another. Just stay here, guys. So notice if you tend to rock to one side or another, and see if you can get an evenness in your pelvis. Maybe even bring the back of your hand to your sacrum and notice if there's a slant going on here. Then, once you feel that feels even, and that might mean changing the angle of the front foot sometimes. Generally, further forward with the foot is deeper into the pose. You walk your elbows down onto the mat, and then slowly, slowly bringing your chest down. You can either begin by bringing your forehead to your stacked fists, or onto the backs of your hands, or fully resting as Jorge is, with his arms out. Swan pose is an excellent posture for targeting this area of our hips. The outer edge of the IT band coming up into the edge of the glutes. Imagine as you practice that you could send your awareness all the way into this right side, into your thigh, your hip, into your sacrum, and breathe space. Each breath expands the tissues a little on the inhale, and as you exhale, the tissues can relax into a new organization, a new way of settling next to their neighboring muscles, fascia, connective tissue, tendons and ligaments. So allow your mind to travel on the wings of your breath to fill the spaces that need to be seen and released. If at any point your front knee is becoming uncomfortable, any pain is presenting, then allow yourself to ease out of the pose. Yin Yoga is not always about endurance, and it's certainly not about torture, so be kind to yourselves. Just 3 more breaths here. When your 3rd breath is done, walking your hands in underneath your shoulders, rising your chest, taking a moment in your upward swan, perhaps pressing into your fingertips to rise your sternum, your chest bone, to draw your shoulders down your back, taking a mini back bend, a twisting back bend in fact. And then tucking your toes behind you, walking your hands far enough back so you can press into your hands, lifting your hips up, setting a downward facing dog, and then rising that right leg into the air. Taking a 3-legged dog, opening up that hip. You can keep that right leg straight or you can bend the knee. Up to you. Feel into your shoulders, your hips, And take deep breaths that fill especially the front of this right hip crease. It should feel really good. If it doesn't, smile, and generally that also helps it to feel good. Okay, take another deep breath here, and then release your leg down to the mat. You can pedal out your down dog a couple of times, bending one knee and then the other. Good. And then from here, coming down onto hands and knees, getting ready to set up for the other side. So sliding now your left knee between your hands, bringing your left ankle behind your right wrist. Think about extending through your right leg, using your toes to lift your knee and then settle it again. Checking in with the level of your hips. Is my pelvis neutral? And perhaps if you find that you do tend to tilt, especially over to the left side, what you can do is you can use a prop right underneath the left buttock, and you can rest onto this prop as you come down. See that by propping underneath that left hip, it stops any falling over to the side, and it keeps Jorge's pelvis in a neutral level position. Then Penny can come down and rest however she wishes, either with forehead on her hands or with arms stretched out, whatever feels good for her. So checking into the landscape of your hips. How do your hips feel today? How does the left side speak to you? Is it a similar or different voice to the right? Is there an expectation from you now? And if you don't meet your expectations today, are you able to be gentle with yourself? To accept whatever your body has to offer you. And to lend yourself strength by breathing with whatever you find. A good note here is to check in not just with your hips, but what's happening with your shoulders. These major junctions of the body, these meeting points of bone, tendon, muscle, and also all of the movement of blood, lymph, because we have a lot of different systems crossing these joints. How can relaxing one set of joints, for example your shoulders, have an impact on your hips? And there's another junction in your jaw, that if you allow yourself to relax in your jaw, some rather magical releases tend to go on in the whole body. And this is a reminder to us that even though we feel fragmented at times, that I have a sore foot, or I have a strong sensation in my shoulder, or for example in this pose a strong sensation in the outside edge of my left hip, that my whole body is one. And now is the time for it to come to my aid. Jorge has settled into his pose so much now that actually removing the cushion might allow him to sink a little deeper. It might not, but it looked like he was now done with using the prop. If at any point during this pose you get tingles in your front foot or it goes to sleep, see if you can stay with it for a little, but if it gets really strong and uncomfortable, come out of the pose. There's no point in sitting with discomfort that is bordering on pain. Yin Yoga teaches us how to be with difficult sensations and notice our responses to them. But we should never have to put up with pain. Time for just 3 more breaths here. Noticing the texture of this side, how it may differ from when you first met it. And then slowly walking your hands in, rising your heart, perhaps coming up onto your fingertips to lift your chest. It's quite a triumphant feeling. Extending through the front of your right hip. And then releasing your hands down, tucking the back toes, getting ready to press into your hands to lift your heart space towards the sky and walk yourself back to downward facing dog. When you're ready, lifting that left leg into the sky, perhaps bending the knee. Breathing as you move or in your stillness. Good, and then whenever you're ready, releasing that leg down, pedaling your knees or your ankles. Lovely. Bending your knees and just settling into a child's pose for a moment. As you sink into your child's pose, send your awareness of breath down into your low back. And across the back of your pelvis. Find a meeting point now between the 2 areas of sensation that we've been working with, and see if they can link and join up. Taking one final breath here, maybe a sigh if you need it. And then coming up to hands and knees. We're going to take dragon pose now. So let's pick the left hand up and step your left foot where your left hand was just a moment ago. And then come to an upright lunge. You might have a very strong yoga practice and quite open hips at the front, in which case you may need to step your foot a little further forwards. Jorge and Penny are practicing on nice thick mats here, but if you're working with a thinner yoga mat, what I suggest is you turn it over to double it up. I'm already using 2, but now I've almost got 3 underneath. It's your choice of whether you have the back toes tucked or the top of your foot resting on the mat. What I'd like everyone to do is make sure you're not sinking or resting into the pose, but actually lifting up. So you're lifting your hips up and you're charging energy through the front of your right hip. And then you have a choice. You can either stay here, you can raise your arms up in dragon wings. This is a very strong variation of the pose. Or with the aid of either the floor or blocks, you can bring your hands down, making sure you don't completely sink into your ligaments, but keep an effortless lift up through the front of the hip, as you see Penny is doing so beautifully here. Jorge is doing strong dragon pose, and he's going to spread his fingers wide and retract his shoulders, which means draw his shoulders down his back. Good. And what I find is when I do this pose, I need to breathe quite strongly. So take your breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Breathing in this way releases excess heat because dragons quite obviously build our heat reserves, and a strong opening of the psoas muscle and the hip flexors through this right side. How does this right side feel to you? Is it roaring or is it curled? Is it fiery and hot, or the embers glowing gently? Feel into the texture of this dragon and let it be heard and felt. This is one of the most yang poses in Yin Yoga, so we're not going to hold it too much longer. Just 3 more breaths. You can do it. Let a smile move through, if not on the outside, at least on the inside, and see how that changes your attitude to the pose. Last breath. Okay. Slowly, slowly release. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cool that down. Tuck your back toes under and then start to walk your fingers back. Stay on your fingertips. Pull the toes of your left foot towards you. Oh, that's strong. And sit your right seat bone onto your right heel. So it's kind of like a runner's lunge. And we're going to take a little forward fold, feeling into our hamstring, just as we did at the beginning of the class. Oh, that feels nice. Maybe a lift of the heart as you inhale and a release as you exhale. One more time, a lift. Toes towards the face and lower. Good. Walk your hands forwards, bend that front knee. You can unwrap your mat if you've folded it over, and then sit back and just take a moment to actually lie down. Lie down and bring your hands to your hips. You can have your knees bent or straight, but what I really like is with your hands resting over your hips, you can feel the heat and the pulse of blood that you've generated by being in this pose. Opening through the hips is a fantastic practice for balancing our energy, which can so often get stuck in the pelvis from hours and hours of sitting. Okay, it's not Shavasana time yet. So, slowly, using the momentum of your legs, so hug your knees in towards your chest, keep your head relaxed, lift your toes towards the sky and strongly push your heels down towards your hips to roll yourself up to sit. Yes, lovely. Spin your feet to the side and come to hands and knees again. We're going to set up for the other side. So this time, pick your right hand up and step your right foot where your right hand was just before. Coming up into your lunge and checking your lunge. The reason why I change my foot is because if I lunge here, my knee comes way, way over my ankle, and I feel like I just sag into my hips rather than stepping forwards and getting the sufficient amount of stretch through the front of my left hip without over stretching my knee or over reaching my knee. So your choice of whether you take the strong variation of dragon wings, or if you'd like to rest in a slightly more passive form, either on the floor or on blocks. If your wrists ever find that they get impacted here, compacted here, you can come into soft fists on the blocks. Penny, would you show that for me? And I tend to face my fists out to the side like this. But really, if it feels more comfortable for you, you can do it any way you like. If she feels more stable, Penny can come back to having her palms on the block. Same thing again. There's this strong feeling of lifting and lengthening through the front of the left hip this time. And how does that feel for your left side? At the same time, shoulders are retracting down the back, fingers are spread wide, face is relaxed, smiling helps. And strong breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. For me, dragons affirm our life force. They're fire poses, they're heart poses, and they bring heat up through the gate of the hips to invigorate our hearts. So you might find your heart is beating a little faster, that your breath is deeper, and certainly that your triple heater is working and you're getting a bit warmer. Another nice thing to mention in dragon pose is a little bit of a press into the top of your back foot, an enlivening of your back leg. Very nice, Penny. This really helps connect up the whole of that left side. Okay, almost there. Just 3 more breaths, wherever you're at, thinking about opening through the left hip, releasing with the breath. 1 more. Okay, hands to the floor, well done. Slowly, slowly walking your fingertips back, drawing the right toes towards your face, sliding your heel so you can sit your left seat bone on your left heel and flexing your toes, feeling that strong stretch coming up through the back of your right leg and a little bow forwards. Yeah. Lengthening up as you inhale and then the relief of the exhale. Couple more times. Okay, sitting to the side, bringing your feet out in front of you and lying down. Hands onto your hip crests. Enjoying that feeling of heat that you have generated. Enjoying feeling the pulsing of your life, of blood moving through your hips. And now we're going to stay lying on our backs, but I'd like you to shift to the left side of your mat. So move your whole body over to the left side. Good. And then in little steps, pick your heels up and walk them with straight legs as far over to the right as you can. And it might mean you walk off your mat, and that's fine. And then cross one ankle over the other, either right over left or left over right. It's most likely going to be more strong if it's left over right. Or you might feel more stable right over left. Then here's the trick. You're going to bend your elbows so your hands reach towards the ceiling, and you're going to press the backs of your arms onto the floor and your head. And you're going to use that motion like a caterpillar, move your torso over to the right in the same direction as your feet. So like a little caterpillar, you're going to pick your chest up and move your torso so that you become, in essence, a crescent shape on your mat. When you're ready, bringing your arms up overhead and holding onto your elbows or your wrists. Check in with your pelvis also. Is there any gripping in one side or the other of the buttocks? And if so, just rock your pelvis side to side. This will help even you out. As much as I'd like to come and give you an adjustment, that's not really possible, so you have to do the adjusting yourself this time. Good. We've switched things around a bit now, so we're opening the left side first. And how does your body respond to this? Can you join up the dots, connecting sensations all the way from the outer edge of your left foot, up your left leg, most likely with very strong sensations coming over the crest of your left hip, and up through your waist, your armpits, your tricep, maybe even into the left side of your neck and your face. Do make sure that your head is resting comfortably for this. Good. Allow your ankles to relax, your thighs to soften. As time goes by in the pose, we realize what we're holding on to. Equally paying attention to what's happening in the curvature of your right side as well. Do you feel restricted, tight or closed in the right side? And could you offer an equal amount of breath and attention into the right side of your body to help support your left? This is one of those fantastic poses where we really don't need to do anything. Lie here and let the shape do the work for you. If you feel you've settled into the pose enough, and perhaps your body is asking for a little more, what I do is I hold my left wrist with my right hand and I give a little pull over to the side. This is just an energetic feeling rather than a very strong physical pull. It's the idea that I'm going to use that hold to lengthen all the way through the side line, through the fascia, through the joints. And there's just 3 breaths remaining here. When you're ready, uncross your ankles. Slowly, gently. Ooh. And I often bend my knees after this one because you can sometimes feel strong reactions going on through your hips and your side body. And then allow yourself to even out on your mat. Penny's choosing to hug her knees to her chest, which feels really nice. Jorge might want to rock side to side. It's a really interesting sensation that this pose offers. We feel like we've done so little, but it can have such a big response. Take a moment just to lie flat out and feel the difference between your two sides. Tune in to sensations of heaviness, lightness, hot, cold, spaciousness and heldness. How do the two sides feel? Good. Then shifting your entire body over to the right side of your mat. Getting ready for the other side. So in little steps, walk your heels over to the left, off on a journey, and then crossing your ankles. Checking in with your pelvis to make sure it feels level, and then when you're ready, shifting your upper body using the backs of your arms and the back of your head. Imagine yourself moving a bit like a caterpillar. When you're ready, bringing your arms overhead, making a choice of whether you hold opposite elbows or opposite wrists. Maybe you'd want to start with elbows and progress further to wrists afterwards. Sometimes we might have tight shoulders, and if that's the case, you can use a prop underneath the shoulders themselves if they feel like they're uncomfortable. Penny here doesn't seem to have any problems, but I'd just like to show you what you can do if you're feeling a little tight here. Check in with the texture of your neck. Is it soft? Is it relaxed? Is it evenly weighted? Check in with the cross of your ankles. Is there just enough tension to hold them here and keep you in the pose, but not so much that it brings any stress into your body? And then definitely check in with what's going on at the level of your pelvis. Is there any tension being held in your buttocks? If so, rock side to side. Find an even ground where both the tops of your hips and the back can relax fully. Good. Some of us will be feeling this pose very strongly over the crest of the right hip. Other people, maybe it'll be more creeping up into the sides of the waist and the rib cage. And for others, especially if you do strong workout with your arms, it'll be coming into that armpit and tricep area. Or maybe, actually, athletes as well, into your IT band, the side of the thighs. Wherever it is you feel it, send your awareness there and see if just by accepting that it is there, you can stay with it and stay with the change. By holding poses for a long time, we affect a big change in our connective tissue body. This is the fascia that binds and wraps our muscles, that connects them to our bones, that creates the strong guy lines of our tendons and ligaments. And sometimes these areas can be really knotted up and tight. And what we do is, by holding the poses for a long time passively, these fibers relax and ease apart and form new pathways for information, for an exchange of fluid, of sensation, because your nerves will also be living in these connective tissue pathways. It's a great way to increase neuromuscular connection, brain to body connection. And that's how we're going to balance the two sides, is by bringing our awareness into both, by stretching both and opening. Settling into this opening of your right side, the final few moments. See if you can connect the same way we did with the left. So all the way from the outer edge of the right foot, through the edge of the leg, up into your hip, through the side of your waist, rib cage, shoulder and armpit, tricep, even into your little fingers if you can. Jorge has made a very good choice to come out of the pose, which I always encourage people to do in their classes if they feel that their time is done, they're cooked. Take 3 more breaths here, settling into these final moments. And then very carefully uncrossing your ankles, walking your feet gently back to center. Good. If you feel the need to bend your knees and hug them to your chest, please do so, especially if you've had any sensation ripple into your low back. Be kind to yourself. Good. I really like this as well. Bring your hands to your kneecaps and move your knees so they're resting just above your hips. And then take circles of your kneecaps together right above your sacrum. So you're going to stir gentle circles right above this meeting point of where your sacrum and your hip bones meet. This can be very beneficial for the lower back. Take your time, and when you're ready, circle in the opposite direction. Good. Time to take some twists. We're going to do a twisted roots variation of a spinal twist. Make sure you have enough space out to your sides to bring your arms. And then what you're going to do is, just as though you'd cross your legs when you're sitting normally, cross your right thigh over your left. Hug both knees to your chest, and if you can, and not everyone can, you can tuck the top of your right foot behind your left ankle, but you don't have to. Then from here, knees stay up, arms out to the side. Good. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, let your knees fall to the left. So you follow the knee that's closest to you. Excellent. Use your arms on the floor to help guide you. If for any reason this becomes uncomfortable, You can always uncross this foot. Yeah, that looks like it works a bit better for you. It's a strong twist. It's aiming at not only twisting through the spine, but also getting into this juicy IT and piriformis area. Penny's taken a variation here where her knees are a little closer to her chest. This has a different effect on her spine and on her shoulders, as you can see, and also because Penny and Jorge have different shapes as well. The same will go for you. For some of you, you will be really comfortable with the knees maybe very close into the chest, almost in a childlike position or a fetus-like position. And some of you, the knees will be further away and lower down. That's absolutely fine, but feel into how it affects your twist. These two are also very flexible, and so if you need to, you can take your blocks and you can use them to rest upon. This can be very handy, especially if you feel that too much twist is coming into your low back area. So again, I can offer the same to Jorge, bringing a block underneath his knees so he can rest on. Is that comfortable? And so then there's less stress on his lower back to carry the weight of the twist. I love spinal twists because they don't just affect the spine. They affect our shoulders, our hips, and especially what lies in between our organs of digestion, of vitality. It affects the heart and the lungs, as well as our liver, our spleen, our kidneys, and of course, the entire loop of our digestive intestines. These structures that balance our midline, that are paired or that are moving across, will also have an effect on how our right and left side are feeling. Okay, it's time to come out of this side, so take 3 more breaths here. Enjoying the final moments of this pose. When you've taken your 3rd breath, uncross your knees and your ankles, and then bring the palms of your hands to face down to the ground to help bring you back to the center. Oh, very good. Take a moment to rest before you do the other side. Good. Yeah, little rocks can really help. And then when you're ready, crossing your left thigh over your right, hugging your knees towards your chest. If you want, you can double cross by bringing the top of your left foot behind your right ankle, but remember, you don't have to. And then bring your arms out to the side, palms facing down, slightly engaging your abdomen to help as you twist across with your exhale. Good. Jorge's really taking his time as he gets into the twist. Again, remembering that it's really up to you if you have your knees high, like Penny has, or if you have your knees low. It will have a different effect of the twist. Maybe you can see here, but what Jorge has is a twisting back bend. His lower back is concave. Nothing wrong with that, if that's what you're aiming for. However, Penny, because her knees are higher, she has a slightly rounded lumbar spine. Yeah? So a twisting forward bend. Again, perfect for you if it feels good for you. But know what you're doing. Know how if you bring your knees higher towards your armpits, you're going to get that twisting forward bend. And if you bring your knees away, you're going to get the twisting back bend. There's a good reason that twists are usually done towards the end of a class. They're very good for balancing out anything that we've been experiencing through the spine. So we've been folding forwards, we've been reaching back, and now we have the time to wring the spine out from side to side and get a feeling for what happens when all motions have been satisfied. Forward folding, back bending, twisting, and then we're done. Send your breath down into your abdomen, remembering that you're filling awareness and chi into your organs as well as into your structure. Checking in with how the pose has changed over time, making sure that you're still present, breathing your awareness through your body, coming towards our final pose. Okay, let's take 3 more breaths here, and in your own time, unwind. I like to uncross my legs before I come back to the center. Good. Once again, you have the opportunity here to hug your knees towards your chest, to give yourself a well-deserved hug. And maybe once again to do those really nice circles of your knees right above your hips. Massaging your sacrum and your ilia, your hip bones on the mat. And then slowly, one at a time, straightening your legs. You have an option here today of either taking Shavasana just as you are, or if you would like to rest over a bolster. It's your choice. Both Jorge and Penny today are just going to rest upon their mat. But sometimes it's nice to take a very soft, supportive back bend at the end of your session for balancing. Once again, tune in to the sensation of your body resting. Feeling right side and left side, and how they meet the earth. How they're seen by the sky, and how they are accepted by you. Moving together into the central channel, collecting and then informing the whole of your system as you widen out in your relaxation and move beyond the layer of your skin to inhabit a wider, soft space of peace and rest. Spend as much time as you need in your Shavasana for full relaxation and recuperation. And then when you're ready, draw your awareness back into your body. Collect in all the parts of yourself, and then slowly begin to mindfully move, reawakening your limbs, opening your eyes when you're ready, making whatever intuitive movements your body needs to bring it into its day or into its night. Coming to a comfortable seat when you're ready. And just for a change, notice the way you like to sit cross-legged and bring the other foot to the front, repatterning our awareness of our sides, closing your eyes for 3 conscious breaths. And then bringing both hands together at your heart, a symbol of unity and peace, bringing harmony to the 2 sides of your life. Thank you for joining this class. Namaste.